Daegun had been out of school for 2.5 years, working at a convenience store. Now, unexpectedly, he was transferring to a new school. The reason? Rampant bullying. The school bullies had become so out of control, they ignored teachers' instructions. The only thing they feared was even stronger bullies. Consequently, the local education department implemented a supervisor plan, sending powerful bullies back to school to manage the others. They approached Daegun Kwon. Before dropping out, Daegun had single-handedly dominated the entire art district. He was the one person who could suppress all the bullies there. But now he was just a convenience store clerk, forced to endure his unscrupulous boss's nagging and cram books he didn't understand, all in an effort to improve his education. Daegun often regretted not sticking with school. One day, 2 students who looked like trouble walked into the convenience store. His boss, visibly frightened, made an excuse to hide in the break room, leaving Daegun alone at the counter. The tattooed man immediately flashed his arm and watch, demanding a pack of cigarettes. Daegun paused, confused. Don't these 2 realize they look like students? He thought. Can I see your IDs? Otherwise, I can't sell you anything. The woman beside him scoffed. Why is this part-timer making such a big deal? The tattooed man threw money at Daegun. Hurry up and get me what I want. Daegun started to explain, but the man grabbed his collar. 4 eyes bastard. Can't you understand plain English? Just give it to me. No more nonsense. The boss, peeking from his hiding place, witnessed the entire scene. These students forced me to sell to them last time too, he thought frantically. He rushed out, saying, Can you guys take this outside? We have other customers in store. Daegun was stunned. The boss was throwing him to the wolves. Moments later, in a nearby alley, the tattooed man snarled, grabbing Daegun. Try to act tough again, Daegun calmly replied. I'll give you 3 seconds to let go of me. Those few words enraged the tattooed man, who swung to hit him. Then a loud thwack. The girl shouted anxiously, Wake up! The tattooed man opened his eyes, bewildered, finding himself sprawled on the ground, his cheeks stinging from a slap. Daegun stood nearby, completely unharmed. The girl hurriedly helped the tattooed man up. You punk! You dare to sneak attack me? He whispered to the girl. Go call the others over. But the girl had trouble hearing him. The tattooed man cursed angrily. Damn it! I told you to get the brothers over here. Did you hear me clearly? Hearing this, the girl hurriedly went to call the others. Daegun didn't stop her. Instead, he came to the tattooed man, patted his shoulder, and asked, You're a student, right? The tattooed man wanted to talk back, but the next second, a sharp pain shot from his shoulder. It hurt so much that he hurriedly admitted he was a student. Daegun then said, If I see you buying cigarettes again, you're finished. At that moment, the tattooed man's friends arrived at the alley. One of them, a fat guy who seemed anxious, asked, What are you doing, punk? Where are you from? Daegun looked at the newcomer and asked uncertainly, You should also be a student, right? The fat man immediately said, I'm Oh Daehan from Nindong High School. Although I don't know who you are, take a slap for me first. Saying this, the fat man raised his arm, but the next second, Daegun's palm landed on the fat man's face. One slap knocked him unconscious. Then he looked at everyone. I don't have time to play with you for too long, so come at me all at once. Hearing this, everyone rushed forward together. One of them, unable to hold back, swung his fist and charged. Daegun just slowly took his hand out of his pocket and gave the man a lightning-fast slap, directly sending him flying. Another person found an opportunity to sneak attack. Daegun moved to the side, followed by an elbow strike that deformed the man's face. Then, he turned his gaze to another person who was now charging at him. Daegun quickly made a turn, then used the momentum to swing his fist and hit the man hard, sending him flying. At this point, the tattooed man picked up a beer bottle from the ground, intending to fight back, but saw a fist flying towards him. He was hit hard in the abdomen by Daegun. The huge force made him fly back several dozen meters. Then Daegun looked at the last person. Only you left. Aren't you going to attack? At this moment, the bald man was too scared to move. It must be him. Only one person can be this powerful. Then the bald man asked, Are you the big brother Daegun Kwon who used to attend Nindong High School? The girl beside him was amazed when she heard this. He is Daegun Kwon, the one who unified the entire district in just 1 week 2 years ago. Wasn't Daegun Kwon supposed to be a handsome guy? Rumors really can't be trusted. The bald man immediately bowed and apologized. We were blind not to recognize you. Daegun patted his head and said, Don't you feel ashamed, gathering in a group and acting tough? Daegun told him to wake the others and bow with your heads on the ground while I sit on this tattooed man. If you dare to cause trouble at this convenience store again, don't blame me for being ruthless. After dealing with these troublemakers, Daegun was about to return to the convenience store, but was stopped by a bespectacled woman. At first, Daegun thought she was selling products, but then he saw the woman take out her business card. "I'd like to ask you to do something," she said. It turned out that the woman was Sammy Lee, the person in charge of the Golden Dragon Education Foundation's bully management plan. After hearing the woman's plan, Daegun couldn't help but feel it was very feasible. It turned out that Daegun was once a victim of bullying. Any slight resistance would result in a severe beating, and at that time, no student would step forward to stop it. Even when teachers saw him being bullied, they would pretend not to see and continue with their lessons. Once, he was discovered by a more dominant bully. Someone had stuck a note on his back saying, "He has no mother." Coincidentally, this bully also had no mother, so when he saw this note, he became very angry. He directly intervened and beat up the bullies tormenting Daegun, and they didn't dare fight back afterward. He directly stated, "Whoever dares to bully Daegun again is going against me." Because of those words, no one ever bullied Daegun again. This incident also made Daegun understand that in school, any word from a bully was more effective than a teacher. After that, in order to become stronger, Daegun constantly trained, learning various fighting techniques. After 2.5 years of training, Daegun was finally transformed and single-handedly took down all the bullies in the art district, becoming the undisputed ruler of the art district. But after that, Daegun left school and became the convenience store clerk he is now. Now, facing Sammy Lee's invitation, Daegun asked, "You mean you want me to go and deal with all those bullies?" Sammy Lee immediately said, "That's right, just deal with those bullies." Daegun then said, "How can you, as an education foundation, be plotting behind the scenes?" Sammy Lee leaned forward and said, "Although we're plotting, I've also looked into your past. While this plan is indeed a bit absurd, I know you have no reason to refuse. This is also a good opportunity for you to make up for your past mistakes, isn't it?" The next day, Daegun stood at the entrance of the new school. "I never thought I'd be back in school at this age," he mused. "Let's see how rampant the bullies are now." Now, Daegun has come to the new school as a transfer student. His cool and handsome appearance immediately attracted the attention of most of the girls. This scene also caused dissatisfaction among the class bullies. One immediately said, "Watch how I deal with him later." After the teacher arranged a seat for Daegun, she left. Through conversation, Daegun learned that the person next to him was called Min-Soo Kim. Seeing the teacher leave, a bully from the back row got up from his seat, slowly walking behind Daegun and Min-Soo Kim. Min-Soo didn't notice Ho-jong behind him. Suddenly, Ho-jong slapped Min-Soo hard on the head. This sudden scene startled Daegun, wondering what this guy was suddenly doing. Ho-jong looked at Min-Soo and said, "What are you looking at? Go buy me a sausage bread." Min-Soo didn't dare to resist. He could only say that class was about to start, and he might not be able to go. This remark made the blonde behind them laugh. Ho-jong's face changed as he shouted, "Everyone close your damn eyes." The next second, everyone in the class actually closed their eyes, and Ho-jong slapped Min-Soo in the face. "You little punk, are you tired of living? When I tell you to go, you go. You dare to talk back." Seeing this, Daegun couldn't hold back and wanted to act, but he remembered the many rules Sammy Lee had set for him. He couldn't figure out if she wanted him to intervene or not. Suddenly, Ho-jong looked at Daegun and said, "Why didn't you close your eyes? You know you're sitting in the seat of the person who used to run errands for me. Why don't both of you go?" Daegun naturally wouldn't run errands for anyone, so he said, "Isn't one person enough?" Hearing this, Ho-jong laughed. "What? You two want to compare who's stronger?" Suddenly, his face changed, and he said, "Punk, you'd better not waste words. When I tell you go, you go." Daegun then stood up, saying, "Sure, but give me the money." Ho-jong was stunned by this move. He didn't expect Daegun to dare ask him for money. He grabbed Daegun's head. "Punk, who are you asking money from? When I tell you to buy something, of course you use your own money." Daegun finally couldn't bear it anymore. "You really have no manners. Remember, you started this." The next second, Daegun attacked, a punch hitting Ho-jong's ribs hard, making Ho-jong throw up his lunch, then another punch hit his face, completely stunning Ho-jong. But Daegun showed no sign of stopping. "Since I've started, I must finish you." Another heavy punch hit Ho-jong's face. Finally, Ho-jong passed out completely. The blonde nearby stood up in shock. Daegun said, "All kinds of trash dared bully me. Blondie, come out here. Weren't you laughing hard just now?" At this moment, The blonde was already scared by Daegun and didn't dare to move. Seeing this, Daegun walked over. "Since you won't come to me, I'll go to you. You'd better clench your teeth." The blonde stumbled back. A flying kick suddenly aimed at Daegun. He sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the blow. The blonde followed with a straight punch, missing wildly. Then a right hook also failed to connect, causing him to curse, "Why do you keep dodging?" In a flash, Daegun delivered a powerful punch to the blonde's abdomen. The single blow brought tears to his eyes, nearly knocking the life out of him. "You told me not to dodge. Let's see how many more punches you can take. Hitting the chest is too dangerous. People could die," the blonde exclaimed. Just then, Hojong woke up, grabbing a chair and attempting to smash it over Daegun's head. Daegun remained unfazed. "This is the first time I've seen someone who can take so many hits." Daegun then punched Hojong squarely in the face. "You'd better settle down." Finally, Daegun sent both Hojong and the blonde sprawling to the back of the classroom. He grabbed Hojong by the collar. "You really like bread, huh? How about this? You go buy bread now and get mine too." Hojong spat back. "You think beating me makes you the boss of the class? I'm not the boss of this class. Just wait. When he comes, you're dead." Suddenly, the back door of the classroom creaked open. A red-haired man strode in, fixing Daegun with a glare. "Who are you? Daring to cause trouble in our class and hurt my underlings?" No Minho glanced at his two beaten subordinates and sighed. "You two couldn't even beat one person? And you," he said, turning to Daegun, "the new transfer student, you dare to be so arrogant on your first day?" Daegun watched Manhwa slowly approach. The other students gradually backed away, anticipating a fight. But unexpectedly, Manhwa said, "What are you hiding for? Who said I was going to fight?" Hearing this, Daegun laughed. "That sounds nice," he said, but his body was already tensed, prepared to strike. "Looks like he's learned some kickboxing." Hojong, on the other hand, was filled with confidence. He started ordering other students to buy him popcorn, but the next second, he saw Daegun turn to look at him, freezing him in his tracks. "Never mind," he stammered. Seeing this, Manhwa knew that if he didn't teach Daegun a lesson today, no one would listen to them in the future. He pretended to ask Daegun's name. As Daegun was about to answer, Manhwa suddenly attacked with a groin strike. Manhwa's palm instantly blocked Daegun's vision. The next second, Daegun looked down and saw Manhwa raising his leg, instinctively thinking Manhwa was going to attack the weakness all men share. This guy is so despicable. This is the forbidden technique acknowledged by all men. Daegun hurriedly reached out to block. However, Manhwa suddenly withdrew his leg and threw a punch at Daegun. "Ha ha ha, you fell for it, punk." Daegun had no time to block and was hit hard in the face. At the critical moment, Daegun quickly retreated, reducing most of the force of the punch. "Well done." Hojong and the blonde shouted when they saw this. Meanwhile, Manhwa charged forward again, but this time Daegun wouldn't give him chance. A sweeping kick hit Manhwa's leg. Manhwa instantly lost balance and began to wobble. Daegun grabbed his collar, throwing him flying, smashing him hard against the wall. "You're really despicable, using that move, even though we're both men," Daegun said helplessly. "What? You have a problem with that?" Manhwa retorted. "I didn't actually kick you. That was just a greeting. Now you'll see my real strength." At this moment, Daegun thought Manhwa was going to fight him fairly, but instead he saw Manhwa grab a dustpan and throw it directly at him. Daegun quickly dodged, but saw that Manhwa had already taken the opportunity to charge once again. Witnessing Manhwa's despicable nature, although Daegun had no chance to counterattack now, Manhwa's attacks couldn't hit him either, angering Manhwa. "Stop moving around." Suddenly, Manhwa shouted, "Stop! This guy is my opponent." Daegun thought someone was sneaking up on him, but when he turned to look, he only found an ordinary student. Manhwa took advantage of Daegun's distraction and threw a punch, but it was blocked by Daegun. "Damn it, you punk, you're really annoying." However, Manhwa unexpectedly used another dirty trick, trying to poke Daegun's eyes, but all were dodged. Daegun was speechless and decided not to hold back anymore. A direct left hook made Manhwa's nose bleed. The next second, he passed out, lying motionless on the ground. "Looks like the boss of class 1 is going to change," Hojong and the blonde said, stunned. Daegun looked at the two and said, "Go wake him up. When he's conscious, the three of you come to me." Everything that happened here was clearly seen by Sammy Lee. "Your performance didn't disappoint me. I'm looking forward to what you do next," she thought. But Sammy Lee was recognized by a female student, the planning director of the Education Foundation. Why is she at the school? Meanwhile, Daegun had started educating Manhwa and the others. "You three brats, you'd better behave from now on. Otherwise, I can be your friend, or I can be your demon." Then Daegun told the whole class, "If they bully you or anyone else in the future, tell me, and I'll be responsible for tearing them apart." The news of Daegun becoming the boss of Class 1 quickly reached the ears of Class 3. Despite this, they didn't take Daegun seriously, because in their eyes, Manhwa was just someone who used dirty tricks and sneak attacks. Class 3's boss, Sangbo Shim, stood up and said, "Don't count on them. Come practice with me first. Where's the punching machine?" Sangbo walked up to a student. "It's your turn today." The next second, Sangbo punched the student in the abdomen. "Rate my punch," he demanded. The student managed to say 800 before he began to vomit. "How disgusting," Sangbo exclaimed. "I told you not to eat. Prepare a few more sandbags for me at noon. Let me warm up before teaching that transfer student a lesson." Class had just ended. Hojong yawned. "Anyone want to run errands for me?" Hearing this, Daegun turned his head to look at Hojong, startling him awake. The blonde quickly came to remind Hojong, "You'd better go yourself. Consider it exercise. Mind your own business," Hojong retorted, only to realize the blonde was riding on another student. The blonde, noticing, hurriedly jumped off the man. Hojong complained, "This school is impossible to attend. No one runs errands for me anymore." The blonde suggested, "Why don't we get the transfer student to fight outside school?" Hojong asked, "Manhwa, you can definitely win, right?" A girl nearby couldn't help but mock. "What a bunch of cowards." Then she approached Daegun, fawning. "Big brother Daegun, you're so good at fighting. If possible, could you practice jujitsu with me?" The woman then realized Daegun was actually staring frantically past her the notes on the blackboard, completely ignoring her. Feeling greatly humiliated that he had ignored her, she stopped bothering Daegun and vented on Manhwa and the others. "Useless guys. You should study hard, too. Don't think about revenge." Speaking of revenge, Manhwa suddenly thought, now that I've been defeated by Daegun, Myung-Jung Kim from Class 2 and Sangbo Shim from Class 3 will definitely come looking for trouble with Daegun. Now, they don't need to fight with me anymore. If they defeat Daegun, we'll also become their underlings. Hojong became anxious. "We need to think of something. I would rather die than become their underling." The next second, the boss of Class 2, Myung-Jung Kim, suddenly appeared, looking gloatingly at Manhwa. "How are you still alive? I heard you were beaten half to death. Didn't you sleep well yesterday? I heard you fell asleep after getting beaten." Hojong immediately became agitated. "Are you here to mock us?" Manhwa also stood up and said, "If you want to fight, just say so." Then he picked up a pen from the table. "I'll make you experience the feeling of wetting your pants again." Myung-Jung Kim sneered. "You punk still dare to act tough with a weapon." Manhwa, too lazy to waste words, walked forward, stating, "Just wait, you're about to get beaten." "It's not certain who will get beaten this time," Myung-Jung Kim retorted. Just as the two were about to clash, a voice cut through the air. "Damn it, you guys are really noisy." Daegun adjusted his glasses, adding, "You're disturbing my studies." Seeing Daegun, Manhwa immediately deflated and returned to his seat. Myung-Jung Kim, however, glared at Daegun, saying, "So, this is the transfer student who defeated Manhwa." Turning back to Manhwa, he sneered, "Looks like I don't need to waste time on you." Hojong, furious, wished Daegun would teach him a good lesson. Myung-Jung Kim and his followers slowly advanced toward Daegun. He pointed at Daegun and asked his underling, "Is it this guy? He looks like an ordinary bookworm, wearing glasses like a loser." Then, he bent down to Daegun and taunted, "What did you just say? Say it again if you dare." But Daegun completely ignored Myung-Jung Kim. Myung-Jung Kim, thinking he had intimidated Daegun, reached out to grab Daegun's hand that was taking notes. But in the next second, he was suddenly gripped by Daegun, who bent his fingers back hard. The intense pain made the veins on Myung-Jung Kim's face bulge, and he shamelessly begged, "Please let go. It's killing me." Daegun replied coolly, "I need to organize my notes during this break. If you don't want your fingers broken, come find me next time." Hearing this, Myung-Jung Kim just said, "Understood." Daegun then released him, but in a flash, Myung-Jung Kim swung his fist. Seeing this, Daegun leaned back, then stretched out his hand to block Myung-Jung Kim's fist. He then slapped Myung-Jung Kim in the face, sending him flying. Unexpectedly, he was knocked out directly. Daegun remarked, "So this is the boss of Class 2? Why did he come looking for trouble so eagerly? I was thinking of dealing with him next time." Then, he told Myung-Jung Kim's underling, When he wakes up, tell him, if I see him slacking off again, I'll finish him. After they carried Myung-Jung Kim away from Class 1, Daegun felt like he was dreaming. I didn't expect to resolve Class 2 too, just like that. Manhwa and the others were also stunned. Ho-jong immediately exclaimed, "They say forgiving others is 100 times cooler than revenge. I've decided to forgive the transfer student." Even a blonde said, "I also think studying hard is more important." But they didn't see that people from Class 3, including Sangbo Shim, had also arrived. Sangbo Shim called out as soon as he entered, "Manhwa, I heard you got beaten up." Ho-jong was speechless. This familiar feeling. Did you two arrange this? But Sangbo Shim retorted, "Don't worry, I'm not interested in you." Then, they came directly to Daegun and surrounded him. Daegun helplessly said, "Looks like I'll have to take notes next time." Sangbo Shin patted Minsu Kim and said, "Can you get lost? We have business with the person next to you." Then, Sangbo Shin sat beside Daegun and teased, "Are you studying? Is your character setting that of a good student? I'm Sangbo Shin from Class 3. I heard you defeated Manhwa, and I'm really worried you might start bullying everyone." Hearing this, Daegun took off his glasses and said, "You guys are endless, really annoying. Just get to the point. Someone like you, who always brings a bunch of underlings, can't be that strong. You don't think you're strong, do you?" Sangbo Shin laughed. "You're interesting, you seem to have guts. But, see you after school, you'd better be prepared. I'm not like that loser Manhwa." With that, he left with his followers. Daegun was speechless. Am I so popular on my first day at school? Looks like I can't enjoy school life properly. At that moment, Manhwa walked over to Daegun. Coming to his side, he asked, "Can I sit here?" But Daegun directly refused. However, Manhwa pulled out the chair and prepared to sit down, saying, "Sangbo Shin is right. He's different from us. That guy's a real fighting expert." Daegun replied indifferently, "So what? Besides, I didn't say you could sit here." Manhwa said, "I want to help you." Daegun looked at him suspiciously. "What are you planning?" Manhwa said, "I can help you defeat Sangbo Shin." Daegun replied, "No need." Manhwa continued, as if he hadn't heard, "Sangbo Shin has been practicing boxing since he was very young, but this guy has no interest in boxing competitions. He practices boxing for only one reason. That is, he likes hitting human punching bags." Soon, lunchtime arrived, and Daegun went to the cafeteria to eat. This also made Daegun drool. He hadn't eaten at a cafeteria in a long time. Recently, he had been eating expired food from the convenience store, and Daegun's handsome appearance also attracted a lot of attention, including bullies from other classes. Sungwoo, the leader of Class 7's PE specialist class, and Dusik Kwok, the leader of Class 8's entertainment class. The news of Daegun defeating Manhwa and Myung-Jung Kim had already reached everyone's ears, but they didn't immediately go looking for trouble with Daegun. Everyone knew that Sangbo Shim would fight Daegun after school. Then they would know if Daegun really had the skills. At this time, Manhwa and the others were also sitting with Daegun, eating. Manhwa was still trying to persuade Daegun to be careful of Sangbo Shin, but Daegun didn't take it to heart. Then, he asked Manhwa, "Didn't you win when you fought him before? Why are you still so afraid, and why are you helping me?" Manhwa sighed and said, "That's because my fight with Sangbo Shim wasn't truly over. In our last match, I was nearly defeated. This guy is excellent at long-distance fighting, and his footwork is incredibly agile, making it impossible to hit him. He consistently found openings to attack, and just as I was about to lose, I managed to corner him. I had no choice but to resort to my long-sealed secret technique, the groin attack." Sangbo Shim, caught by such a low blow, was forced to surrender. But he never accepted his defeat. "I swear I didn't betray myself, but no one seems to acknowledge my victory." Daegun, speechless, simply nodded. "That's obvious, isn't it?" Manhwa continued. "Since then, Sangbo Shim has never sought a rematch. As for why I'm helping you, it's because if you're defeated, we'll all be forced to become his underlings." Just then, two insignificant figures approached Daegun. Daegun immediately recognized them as Sangbo Shim's lackeys. As they passed, they tossed something into Daegun's food tray, then quickly feigned innocence and apologized. Before Daegun could respond, the girl beside him exclaimed, "Are you insane?" They waved dismissively, saying, "I already apologized. Calm down, take it or leave it," then turned to leave, not forgetting to mock Daegun. Suddenly, Daegun grabbed one of them. "Did I say you could leave?" The commotion immediately drew the attention of the other students, eager to see if Daegun truly possessed the skills. The person caught by Daegun, now visibly afraid, yelled, Let me go. It's not a big deal. Why are you grabbing me? I already apologized. Daegun's grip tightened. Whether to accept your apology is my business. As Daegun was about to teach them a lesson, his phone buzzed with a message. He released him to check it. It was from Sammy Lee. Daegun's face paled. Sammy Lee was the one who arranged for him to return to school. If Daegun successfully graduated, he would receive full tuition and living allowances. But the plan had to be carried out secretly. If it failed because of Daegun's actions or words, he would return to his previous life. Seeing Sammy Lee's message, Daegun immediately deflated, guessing she meant he shouldn't draw too much attention. The two underlings, seeing that Daegun's attention wasn't on them, quickly ran away. Daegun didn't chase them. Instead, he rubbed his forehead, thinking, I should keep a low profile. If the plan succeeds, I can live the life I've always dreamed of. Besides, this was his first day at school, and he had already beaten enough people. Better to let those guys go for now. The other bullies in the cafeteria found this disappointing, while also realizing that Daegun wasn't simple-minded. Daegun then got up and left the cafeteria. Manhwa and the others were left wondering what had happened to Daegun, how he seemed to change completely after looking at his phone. Leaving the cafeteria, Daegun was still thinking about whether he'd been too flamboyant today and what Sammy Lee would think of him. Just as Daegun decided not to fight anymore today, he suddenly saw the underling who had caused trouble in the cafeteria. When the other person saw Daegun, he quickly made a smooth turn to escape. Daegun grabbed him. You still want to run? The person hurriedly said, You just transferred today and may not know the rules yet. You can't randomly attack people from other classes. You must first defeat our class's ᴰᴱᴵᴵᴳᴇᴱᴰ to order me around. Otherwise, you'll become the target of the whole school. Daegun was speechless. What kind of bullshit rule is this? Then he said to the man, Let's go somewhere private to talk. You don't want to get beaten up here, do you? When they arrived, Daegun directly taught him how to behave, then found that this place seemed very suitable for fighting. Then he told the man, Go get your class boss. According to what you said, as long as I defeat ᴰᴱᴵᴵᴳᴇᴱᴰ, now I can beat you up freely, right? The man replied, Theoretically, yes, but he's probably busy right now. He's hitting the punching bag. Daegun's face darkened. You mean he's using other students as punching bags? The man was stunned. How did you know? Have you done it too? Getting a confirmation, Daegun couldn't hold back anymore. I was thinking too naively. The most important thing now isn't to be discreet. Then he directly went to ᴰᴱᴵᴵ's class 3. Through the window, he saw a student being beaten. ᴰᴱᴵᴵ also noticed the figure at the door. He immediately sent an underling to see who it was. As soon as the door opened, they saw Daegun's grim face. ᴰᴱᴵᴵ said, Didn't I tell you to meet after school? Are you coming here now because you want to fight right away? Then he told the students nearby, You punching bags, get out of the way. But then he saw those beaten students limping away to the side. ᴰᴱᴵ walked up and put his arm around one of them, saying, Stop pretending, you punk. Are you planning to go back and tattle? The guy, terrified, quickly explained, I just twisted my ankle on the way home. It's all my fault. Daegun scanned the surroundings. He knew all too well that feeling of being used as a punching bag, while being powerless to do anything about it. It was because Daegun had experienced the same thing before, having been bullied by school thugs himself. But now, he had the ability to fight back, and wasn't this why he returned to school? Then, Daegun said to ᴰᴱᴵ, Stop taking your anger out on those weak punching bags. If you've got guts, challenge someone stronger. Hearing this, ᴰᴱᴵ's face darkened. Are you saying that stronger person is you? Daegun pointed at ᴰᴱᴵ's lackey and said, You must be tired after beating punching bags for so long. If you think it's unfair, let this guy be my punching bag instead. The guy who was pointed at instantly became furious. You punk, you dare to call me your punching bag? He immediately swung his fist at Daegun, but Daegun dodged with a sidestep, grabbed the guy's arm and collar, and threw him away. While the guy was still disoriented, Daegun raised his fist and struck like a cannonball. His fist hit the guy's face directly. With just one punch, the guy was knocked unconscious. The students around them were shocked. That punch sounded so loud. Daegun looked at ᴰᴱᴵ and said, Not bad, just like hitting a punching machine. Tell me, how many more punching bags should I beat? Seeing this, ᴰᴱᴵ's face turned black with rage, veins popping on his forehead. ᴰᴱᴵ immediately ordered the students around to move all the desks and chairs away. Seeing this, Daegun didn't try to stop him. He knew ᴰᴱᴵ was a long-range fighter and was doing this to take advantage of the space. Meanwhile, the news of Daegun coming to fight ᴰᴱᴵ had spread throughout the boxing school. Manhwa and others rushed over as soon as they heard. Just then, Sangbo had finished preparing and took a fighting stance against Daegun. The next second, Sangbo quickly approached Daegun. He threw a punch at Daegun, which Daegun dodged with a sidestep. Then, Sangbo twisted his body and threw a right hook at Daegun. Unfortunately, all these attacks were dodged by Daegun, who couldn't help but admire Sangbo's quick reactions. Every time Sangbo attacked, Daegun could dodge just in time, but Sangbo could also quickly react and attack again. Just then, Daegun found an opportunity to counterattack, but Sangbo immediately noticed Daegun's intention. He hastily took a step back to create distance between himself and Daegun. Seeing this, Daegun frowned to himself. Manhwa was right. This guy is no ordinary opponent. With innate fighting talent, plus targeted training, plus using agile footwork to quickly switch between offense and defense. Most importantly, this guy is very fast. By now, Sangbo had launched another attack against Daegun, unleashing extremely fast punches. He seemed to suppress Daegun for a moment. Manhwa, watching from the doorway, worried for Daegun. I was once beaten by that same combination, with no chance to fight back, he thought. But in the next second, Daegun found an opportunity to counterattack. His fist appeared in front of Sangbo's face in the blink of an eye, too fast for Sangbo to dodge. The next moment, Daegun's punch sent Sangbo flying back several meters. Luckily, Sangbo had raised his arms in front of his face at the critical moment, but Daegun's punch still caused significant damage. Sangbo was shocked, unable to believe a human could possess such strength. Hojong and the blonde guy, watching from the side, were dumbfounded, unable to see when Daegun had thrown the punch. Daegun shook his arm and thought to himself, this guy's reaction speed is really fast, instantly choosing to defend. But Sangbo, having taken a punch, grew more confident. He felt he had figured out Daegun's fighting pattern. Then, Sangbo began bouncing in place, planning to lure Daegun to punch first, then counterattack. The next second, Sangbo charged straight at Daegun. Daegun hurriedly threw a counterpunch, but in the next moment, Sangbo suddenly retreated, dodging Daegun's punch. A mocking smile appeared on Sangbo's face, thinking he had succeeded. But then, Daegun delivered a sweeping kick directly to Sangbo's knee. This kick completely confused Sangbo, who hadn't expected Daegun to suddenly use his legs. He hurriedly threw an uppercut, trying to force Daegun back, but after Daegun dodged, he delivered another sweeping kick to the same spot. 2 consecutive kicks to the same spot left Sangbo temporarily unable to stand. Daegun walked up to Sangbo and told him to get up. Hearing this, Sangbo was stunned. You punk, still want to maintain your demeanor in front of me? You're underestimating me too much. But then, Daegun delivered another sweeping kick, knocking Sangbo to the ground again. I told you to get up. Can't you understand? This level of ruthlessness shocked Manhwa and the other 2 watching from the side. By now, although Sangbo could still stand, the leg that had been repeatedly kicked was trembling uncontrollably. Seeing this, Daegun mocked. Why is your leg shaking? If you can't stand up, just lie down obediently. Angered, Sangbo cursed. Damn it, you don't think you've already won, do you? Daegun, tired of talking, threw another sweeping kick. Sangbo, anticipating another leg attack, braced defensively. But Daegun abruptly halted his kick, switching to a right hook aimed directly at Sangbo. Reacting just in time, Sangbo barely managed to block it. A moment later, Sangbo was stunned. Daegun's hand flashed in front of his face, momentarily blinding him. Then, a sweeping kick connected squarely with Sangbo's injured leg. Fighting really means targeting the weak leg, Manhwa thought, dumbfounded. How is this guy using my moves? Not very dignified. After repeated blows to the same spot, Sangbo finally crumbled, unable to stand. The intense pain brought him out in a cold sweat. Unbeknownst to the fighters, the entire match was being recorded. In a distant surveillance room, a middle-aged man watched the unfolding fight between Sangbo and Daegun. Watching others fight is the most enjoyable, he mused. These inexperienced punks still fight pretty decently. Daegun glared down at Sangbo. What are you still kneeling for? Get up. But Sangbo was unable to move, remaining on his knees. The shocked silence of their classmates amplified Sangbo's humiliation. Nearby, the leader of the PE specialist class observed. Even if he stands, he can't continue. His leg is probably ruined. You know, a boxer's most powerful weapon isn't his fists. It's his footwork, which allows him to control the distance. If fists are bullets, then footwork is the gun. But in his current state, he can't utilize it. A boxer without agility is worse than an ordinary person. With a supreme effort, Sangbo struggled to his feet. "It's not over yet, punk." "Very good," Daegun sneered. "It seems you want to continue." He immediately launched another kick at Sangbo's weakened leg. Now unable to retaliate, Sangbo could only passively block. The tremendous force sent him flying back several meters. This is bad, Sangbo realized. His strength is too great. I can't block it, but I can't dodge either. I need to switch to close combat. Before he could react, Daegun kicked him again. The blow sent Sangbo hurtling toward the corner of the classroom. Seeing the wall rushing toward him, Sangbo felt a surge of dread. Sure enough, the next second, Daegun charged forward, unleashing a barrage of punches. Sangbo could only defend, but eventually, Daegun found an opening, landing a punch squarely on Sangbo's ribs. The impact stole Sangbo's breath, his consciousness fading. He continued to defend on instinct alone. At this point, Sangbo was nothing more than a punching bag, enduring Daegun's relentless assault. Finally, after taking 81 punches, Sangbo collapsed to the ground. At that moment, he was terrified to the extreme. "I can't beat this guy." Daegun slowly approached Sangbo. "I'll give you 10 seconds to hurry back to your position." But this time, Sangbo lowered his head and chose not to stand up. The students around looked on in disbelief. Why isn't he getting up? Is he giving up? Sangbo's lackey was stunned. As Sangbo's friend, he knew very well why Sangbo practiced boxing but didn't participate in competitions, why he hadn't challenged Manhwa again, even though he could beat him, and why he was obsessed with beating up punching bags that wouldn't fight back. Though he pretended to be very strong, he was actually terrified of pain. Realizing this, the guy quickly stepped forward to stop Daegun. Stop. We give up." Daegun merely glanced at him, then turned his gaze back to Sangbo and said, "I want you to admit defeat with your own mouth." Seeing this, Sangbo could only say, "I lost, stop hitting me." The students around couldn't believe what they were seeing. Satisfied, Daegun turned to leave, but not without mocking. "What kind of boxer are you? It's laughable. You're not even qualified to be a punching bag." The students around felt like they were in a dream, unable to believe Sangbo had actually admitted defeat. By now, Daegun had left class 3. Watching the scene, Manhwa fell into deep thought. Just how strong is Daegun? Sung Woo from the PE class also realized Daegun was very strong. This guy definitely hasn't shown his full power yet. We need to observe him for a while longer. As Daegun walked out, he encountered the other guy who had caused trouble in the cafeteria at noon. Seeing Daegun, the guy couldn't help but mock. "What are you doing wandering around outside class 3? Don't tell me you got scared seeing Sangbo beating punching bags." But the next second, Sangbo's anguished roar came from class 3, making the guy jump. He quickly ran to the door to check, only to find Sangbo kneeling on the ground, looking like he had just been beaten up. The guy immediately broke out in cold sweat, looking at Daegun in terror. Daegun calmly asked, "Do you have anything else to say?" Frightened, the guy blurted out, No, good job." Just then, someone suddenly bumped into the guy. It was Manhwa and his 2 friends walking out of class 3. Looking at the guy, Manhwa said, "Get out of the way, don't block the path." The guy hurriedly moved aside to let them pass. After seeing Manhwa and the others walk away, he quickly returned to class 3. Walking to Sangbo, he asked, "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" Sangbo glared at him, the guy startled by Sangbo's fierce gaze. "What are you idiots looking at? Get lost," he yelled at the watching students. Sangbo, furious and unwilling to accept defeat, gritted his teeth. "I won't let this matter rest." Meanwhile, in a meeting room, a video of Daegun and Sangbo's fight played on a large screen. "This student, Daegun, is quite impressive," one of the men remarked. Sammy Lee, who had brought Daegun back to school, stood beside him. "Director Lee, I'm very satisfied with your plan this time. Thanks to it, we can carry this out, but those rules are really annoying. Remove them all." Sammy Lee became anxious. "You should know what that person did before. If we don't restrain him with rules, we have no idea what he might do." The man waved his hand dismissively. "When did you become so noisy? Don't worry about it. At most, he'll just throw his weight around at school. Outside school, he's still nobody. He's just helping us deal with those dirty rats hiding in the corners. At most, he's just an obedient little cat. No matter how capable he is, he can't escape our control. What's wrong with letting him unleash his true nature?" By now, news of Daegun defeating Sangbo had spread to all the classes. Coming on his first day and sweeping through 3 classes had shocked many people. Dojin Park, the leader of class 4, said, "It's none of my business. He can do whatever he wants." Sung-hoon Lee, the leader of C Class 9's advanced class, stated, "I just want to study properly." Won Kim, the leader of Class 6, declared, "I just want to play games quietly." Only Jiseok, the leader of Class 5, was getting a headache. He went to Class 6 to find Won Kim, wanting to strategize together. Although it's not a big deal that Mono defeated the leader of Class 3, and I don't need to be on guard against him, that new transfer student is different from those weaklings. We need to think of a countermeasure. Just then, Suji Beck, the self-proclaimed queen of Class 6, interjected, "I really don't understand what you boys think about all day. If you lose, I'll just ask my brother for help." Jiseok immediately objected. "No way. This is our junior grades matter. We can't trouble the senior grade seniors." Soon, Daegun's first day of school ended. After school, Manhwa and his friends continued following Daegun. Manhwa warned, "We've always been wary of each other, but now you've ignited the flames of battle. I guess the leaders of other classes are already preparing to deal with you. Whether you like it or not, you'd better be mentally prepared. And the people at this school aren't as simple as they appear." Just then, Hojong piped up, "We can talk about that later. Let's go to the internet cafe to play League. I just reached silver yesterday." At that moment, Daegun suddenly saw Sammy Lee's car parked nearby. Immediately understanding she was waiting for him, he told them, "I have something to do today, so I won't join you for games. Besides, I'm gold. I don't play with silver players." Hearing this, Hojong couldn't help but complain, "I knew it. I still don't like this G guy." After Daegun got into Sammy Lee's car and left, a female student watching from the roadside was suddenly stunned. "That's Sammy Lee's car. What's she doing here?" The glasses-wearing girl beside her asked, "Jean, what's wrong?" But Jean kept staring at Sammy Lee's departing car. If I'm not mistaken, this woman, Sammy Lee, must be planning something. Meanwhile, in the car, Daegun was on pins and needles, afraid that Sammy Lee might be displeased with him in any way. Sammy Lee remarked, "Your first day of school life was quite eventful." Hearing this, Daegun quickly explained, "I just greeted them, and they came at me. This should count as self-defense, right?" But after saying this, he saw Sammy Lee's face remain stern. Seeing this, Daegun gave up. Fine, go ahead and say it. What punishment do I need to accept?" But the next second, Sammy Lee said there was no punishment. On the contrary, his performance today was very good. "We've observed your actions today and finally decided to reduce the restrictions on you in the future. We hope you can perform like you did today." Hearing this, Daegun finally smiled. "In that case, I don't have to hold back anymore." But the next second, Daegun realized something was off. He asked Sammy Lee, "How do you know what happened to me today? Are you monitoring me?" To this, Sammy Lee adjusted her glasses and said, "That's confidential." Daegun fell into deep thought, suspecting that his desk mate, Min Soo Kim, might be an undercover agent. But the next second, Daegun felt it didn't matter. After all, the news had spread throughout the school. Almost everyone knew about today's events. Soon, Sammy Lee brought Daegun to an apartment building. She then led Daegun to a door, stating, this would be Daegun's residence from now on. Opening the door, Daegun was immediately shocked by the luxurious decoration inside. "I never thought I'd live in such a nice place. You're treating me too well, but it feels like this isn't a new apartment." Sammy Lee replied, "Of course it's not new. This is where I used to live." Hearing this, Daegun became uncomfortable, his face reading, "Do you mean we're going to live together?" Sammy Lee's face changed instantly. "What dream are you talking about, punk? Of course, we're not living together." Hearing this, Daegun felt a bit awkward, realizing he thought too much. Then, Sammy Lee said, "The Education Foundation is very satisfied with your performance. Although we've reduced your restrictions, you should understand that violence is prohibited outside school. If you break the law, even the foundation can't protect you. Also, most teachers at school don't know about this plan. If your behavior is too conspicuous, it'll be difficult for us too." Hearing this, Daegun couldn't help but feel annoyed. Isn't this still asking me to walk on eggshells? Sammy Lee casually left a bank card, saying Daegun could use it as he pleased. Then, Sammy Lee left the apartment. Daegun thought to himself, "Whatever, as long as I handle the school bullies for you, it's fine." After Sammy Lee left the room, she didn't leave the building. Instead, she went to another room downstairs. Inside, several large screens stood there, seemingly monitoring Daegun. Today was Daegun's second day back at school. Early in the morning, he was called over by the teacher for a lecture about yesterday's fighting incident. But the teacher spent most of the time mocking Daegun for not having parents. saying that's why he lacked proper upbringing. This made Daegun very angry, but he couldn't lay hands on a teacher in public. Just then, a girl nearby noticed Daegun being lectured. The girl was Jean, who had seen Sammy Lee's car yesterday. Jean also knew about Daegun getting into several fights on his first day after transferring. Seeing this, she couldn't help but wonder if Sammy Lee's plan might be related to the transfer student. Meanwhile, in Class 6, Jizyuki was taking photos for Suji Beck, the queen of Class 6. Just then, Sangbo Shim's 2 lackeys suddenly came over. Do you know about Sangbo Shin? He didn't come to school today, and we can't contact him. Jizyuki said, I know. Let it be absent. Don't worry about that idiot. The guy then asked, what about that new transfer student? If you leave him alone, won't he? Won-woon Kim, the leader of Class 6, turned around and asked, won't he what? Frightened, the guy quickly waved his hands. Nothing. I'm not saying you would lose to him. Seeing this, Won-woon Kim beckoned the guy to come closer. The guy apologized while approaching Won-woon Kim. The next second, Won-woon Kim suddenly struck, landing a punch on the guy's nose. The guy was momentarily dazed by the punch. Then, he saw Won-woon Kim beckoning him again. Seeing this, the guy didn't dare resist and approached again. Predictably, he was hit in the nose bridge by Won-woon Kim again. Won-woon Kim then said, watch what you say in the future. I'll keep an eye on the transfer student. You can get lost now. The guy hastily fled from the classroom. Jizyuki walked over and said, you were pretty cool just now, but what they said is true. Won-woon asked, do you know why many games have added auto battle modes? Jizyuki said he certainly knew, as he also enjoyed games with auto battle features. Won-woon Kim replied, why is auto battle so popular? He continued, of course, it's because we don't have to do it ourselves. Meanwhile, Daegun had entered detective mode. Since he didn't know how Sammy Lee knew about his actions, he strongly suspected that Min-soo Kim had been sent to monitor him. The next second, Daegun inexplicably asked, Min-soo Kim, you don't have cameras installed in your glasses, do you? Min-soo Kim was completely confused by Daegun's question. What cameras? What are you talking about? Daegun then realized he was being too direct and asked instead, why did you suddenly start wearing glasses? Min-soo Kim explained that he had always worn glasses. It turned out that Ho-jong used to bully people who wore glasses. Afraid of being bullied, I had switched to contact lenses. But now that you're here, I feel that probably won't happen again, so I started wearing glasses again. Hearing this, Daegun was furious. He stood up, intending to teach Ho-jong a lesson. Seeing this, Ho-jong was stunned, not remembering having done such things. Frightened, Ho-jong quickly said to the blonde guy, I suddenly feel a bit bored. Let's play on the floor for a while. Then, Ho-jong was seen on the floor, head down and hands behind his back. The blonde guy beside him had no idea what Ho-jong was doing. Just then, Min-soo Kim suddenly adjusted his glasses. This immediately caught Daegun's attention. He said, Min-soo, your glasses adjustment motion looks suspicious. Min-soo Kim replied, I'm just not used to wearing glasses after so long. Hearing this, Daegun could only awkwardly say, sorry, I've been a bit sensitive lately. While Daegun was wondering how Sammy Lee was monitoring him, a man suddenly appeared at the classroom window. Jean appeared at the same time. Both were staring intently at Daegun, but neither could see anything unusual about him. Jean was so focused on Daegun that she didn't notice the man in front of her and accidentally bumped into him. The man immediately turned around and scolded her. Are you blind? Stop wandering around here. Get lost. Jean quickly apologized. She then left, silently cursing, what a thug. The man continued looking at Daegun in the classroom. Suddenly, he realized Daegun was looking back at him. The man was startled. He quickly walked away from there. Meanwhile, Jean, who had returned to Class 9, was questioned by her best friend. Did you just go to Class 1? I thought you were only interested in studying. Her friend teased. Jean, turns out you also like looking at handsome guys. Jean panicked, wanting to explain something, but her friend said, I understand. After all, the transfer student is indeed handsome. Many girls are already writing love letters to him. Jean didn't know how to explain, but unexpectedly, her good friend Yahello had already gathered all of Daegun's information, even knowing that he would pass through a certain street food alley after school. Jean was even more unsure how to explain. Apart from this reason, she didn't seem to have a suitable reason to monitor Daegun after school. Jean began following Daegun, eager to know what Daegun and Sammy Lee were planning. Meanwhile, the man who had been observing Daegun with Jean was now sitting with Won-woon Kim, the leader of Class 6. It turned out they were all from Class 6. Won-woon Kim had gathered them to deal with Daegun. Is it appropriate for us to ambush the transfer student? After all, he's now the leader of classes 1 to 3, and we're not even leaders, one of the guys said. Won-woon-kim replied, "What's the problem? Besides, weren't you guys pretty good fighters before? If you hadn't met me in ᴰᴱᴵᴳᴇ, Class 6 would probably be yours by now. Or are you concerned about those supposed rules between classes? Anyway, in the end, the whole grade belongs to me and ᴰᴱᴵᴳᴇ. There's nothing wrong with you taking action. In short, you just need to take down the transfer student. Don't worry about the rest. After it's done, remember to call me." With that, Won-woon-kim left. The group stayed behind, waiting for Daegun to appear. Soon, they spotted Daegun passing by. The leader immediately dropped his milk tea and followed. Daegun immediately sensed their ill intentions. He turned and walked into a secluded alley. The group followed closely behind. Meanwhile, Jean, who had been following Daegun, was stunned. She didn't understand why these guys were following Daegun. Jean quickly followed, wanted to see what was happening, but the leader suddenly noticed Jean behind them. Jean quickly pretended to be on a phone call. The man told the others to continue following Daegun while he approached Jean. "Stop pretending. I know you're not on a call. You've been following us, haven't you?" The man then recognized her as the girl who had bumped into him earlier. "I get it." The man suddenly understood. "It seems you like me." He immediately started harassing her, saying, "If you like me, just say so. Why secretly follow me?" So cute. He put his arm around Jean and said, "But I'm a bit busy now. I can let you watch us handle something. After we're done, I'm thinking of getting a room. Want to join me?" This frightened Jean, who pushed the man away and cursed. "Are you crazy?" The man was immediately enraged. "Weren't you the one who liked me and followed me?" Jean retorted, "What are you talking about? How could I possibly like a gorilla like you?" But the next second, the man's friends heard his screams. Not understanding what had happened, they could only turn back to check. The man howled in pain, covering his eyes. "You crazy woman. What are you trying to do?" Jean clutched a can of pepper spray. "Who told you to touch me?" By now, the man's friends had returned. He barked, "Grab her!" Several men surrounded Jean. She backed away in fear. Just as they were about to move, Daegun suddenly appeared. "What are you punks trying to do?" he called out. They were about to tell Daegun to mind his own business, but then they realized something was off. Daegun continued, "You guys have been following me, haven't you? If you have something to say, let's talk somewhere else." Jean-ma, realizing they'd been discovered, agreed. Jean-ma and the others led Daegun to a secluded alley, but they found people already there, apparently from neighboring Bongun High School. They recognized Jinwoo Cha from Bongun. The other was Ijung-man Lee, also from Bongun High School. Both were junior grade fighters. Jinwoo Cha asked, "You're from Golden Dragon School. Haven't seen you before." Youngman Lee added, "Haven't seen them before, must be weaklings." Jean-ma awkwardly said, "Do you know Won-woon-kim? He sent us to handle something." Hearing this name, the two fighters looked at each other. Then Jinwoo said, "So it's Won-woon-kim. If it's him, we'll leave this place to you." Jean-ma felt very embarrassed, but didn't dare say anything. Meanwhile, in an internet cafe, Won-woon-kim and ᴰᴱᴵᴳᴇ were still gaming. When ᴰᴱᴵᴳᴇ learned that Won-woon-kim had sent Jean-ma and the others to deal with Daegun, he felt it was a bit unreliable. Won-woon-kim assured him, "No problem. Wouldn't it be more embarrassing if the transfer student got beaten by a bunch of thugs? Those guys might be stupid, but they're pretty strong." Back in the alley, Jean-ma and his group had surrounded Daegun. Jean hurriedly said, "I don't think I have anything to do with this, so I'll be going now." Jean-ma was the first to object. "I said I wanted to show you my prowess." Daegun looked at Jean thoughtfully. "This girl has been following me since school ended. Could she be sent by Sammy Lee to monitor me?" He then said, "Let her go. This has nothing to do with her." Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Jean didn't want to leave. Jean-ma sneered, "Who do you think you are? Can't you see the situation? You're about to get beaten up, you know." He then approached Daegun with a cigarette, intending to blow smoke in his face. Daegun immediately said, "You better not blow smoke at me, or you might not see tomorrow's sun." But Jean-ma ignored him and prepared to blow smoke at Daegun. In a flash, Daegun acted, grabbing Jean-ma's face. He then tripped Jean-ma with his leg. While Jean-ma was still disoriented, Daegun threw a punch at him, his speed so fast that Jean-ma couldn't react. The next moment, Daegun's fist smashed into Jean-ma's face. One punch knocked Jean-ma unconscious. The other three, dumbfounded, never expected Daegun to be so strong. They understood that if they didn't defeat Daegun Kwon, Won-woon-kim definitely wouldn't let them go. So, the three immediately prepared to attack together, but none dared to make the first move. Seeing this, Daegun Kwon said, "If you won't make a move, then I'll go first." With that, Daegun Kwon charged forward. He punched one of them. The person next to him reluctantly joined the fight, but Daegun Kwon simply dodged with a sidestep. He immediately targeted the person at the back. Before the guy could react, Daegun Kwon sent him flying with a punch. With just one punch, the guy passed out. The boy who hadn't been hit yet froze, thankful that the other boy still had some fight left in him, giving him some confidence. But the next second, his pupils contracted. He was kicked in the chest by Daegun Kwon and slammed against the wall behind him. The man instantly lost all strength and fell helplessly to the ground. The only one left unharmed was stunned, surprised at how strong Daegun Kwon was. But the next second, the man, still reluctantly, charged forward. However, he was easily blocked by Daegun Kwon. Then a punch hit the man hard in the ribs. The man immediately coughed violently, but Daegun Kwon didn't give him a chance to breathe, tripping him in one motion. He then aimed a knee kick at the man's face. However, just as he was about to make contact, he stopped. Seeing this, Daegun Kwon sighed. "That was close. I almost couldn't control myself and would have finished you off." Meanwhile, ᴰᴱᴵᴵᴳᴇ, who was still playing games at the internet cafe, suddenly received a call from ᴰᴱᴵᴵ Lee. ᴰᴱᴵᴵᴵ answered the phone without thinking much, but the next second, he was stunned. Apparently, ᴰᴱᴵᴵ Lee had told him about Jinma and the others being defeated. At this moment, back with Daegun Kwon, Jinma finally regained consciousness. Opening his eyes, he saw Daegun Kwon staring at him intensely. He also saw that his good brothers all looked beaten up. Daegun Kwon immediately kicked him and said, "Get up, quickly go stand with them." Then, Daegun Kwon started lecturing the group. This scene was clearly witnessed by ᴰᴱᴵᴵ Lee and others hiding nearby, who couldn't believe that the Golden Dragon School had such a monster. On the other end of the phone, ᴰᴱᴵᴵᴵ was also in disbelief that Daegun Kwon was so strong. At that moment, Daegun Kwon patted Jinma's shoulder and asked, "Who sent you? Was it that ᴰᴱᴵᴵ you mentioned?" Jinma initially wanted to deny it, but the next second, Daegun Kwon suddenly ground his collarbone. "If you don't admit it, do you think I'm stupid?" Jinma immediately cowered. It's him. Please don't tell him I said so." Although ᴰᴱᴵᴵ was scary, this guy was terrifying too. At this point, Daegun Kwon turned his gaze to Jin and asked, "Why did this girl follow you?" Jinma immediately blurted out, "She has a crush on me." This angered Jin, who cursed, "Are you crazy? I've told you I don't like you, and I actually really hate you. Don't you ever look in a mirror? You look like a gorilla. It's truly disgusting, worse than socks unwashed for a week." Jinma immediately felt what it meant to be emotionally destroyed, then apologized to Jin. "I'm sorry, but you were following us at that time." Hearing this, Daegun Kwon became interested. Jin stammered nervously, "You've watched too many movies. Why would I follow you anyway? I don't want to be associated with savage, violent behavior." With that, Jin left. Daegun Kwon watched Jin leave without trying to stop her. After leaving, Jin ran into ᴰᴱᴵᴵ Lee and his friend, who hadn't left yet. Jinwoo Cha said to ᴰᴱᴵᴵ Lee, "Isn't this girl pretty? She's nothing like the girls at our school." By now, Daegun Kwon had taken down Jinma's phone number. He then said, "Tomorrow, bring ᴰᴱᴵᴵ to me." Time quickly moved to the next day, but after waiting for a long time, Daegun Kwon didn't see Jinma bringing ᴰᴱᴵᴵ. Checking his phone, he found that Jinma couldn't find ᴰᴱᴵᴵ. Seeing this, Daegun Kwon decided to go see what was happening himself. Soon, Daegun Kwon arrived at Class 6. Upon entering, he saw Jinma playing with his phone. Daegun Kwon walked up and asked, "Where's ᴰᴱᴵᴵ?" But since Daegun Kwon was wearing glasses, Jinma didn't recognize him. Daegun Kwon then gripped Jinma's hand tightly, and a familiar feeling immediately came over him. This commotion also attracted the attention of others in the class. At this moment, Suji Baek walked in. She immediately questioned Daegun Kwon. "Who are you? Why are you causing trouble in someone else's class? And you, Jinma, don't embarrass yourself. Shake him off." But Jinma said, "I can't." The next second, Suji Baek realized it was Daegun Kwon. She grabbed him and said, "Do you know where you are?" Daegun Kwon replied, "Who are you? Mind your own business." The next second, he was slapped in the face by Suji Baek, his glasses flying off. Suji Baek said, "Show some respect. Do you know who I am?" Daegun Kwon darkly replied, "Who you are doesn't matter to me, but you slapping me does." Suji Baek then said, "Whatever you just transferred, so you probably don't know." Do you know Soo-hyuk Baek, the senior leader of Golden Dragon? Daegun Kwon simply looked at Soo-ji Baek and said, I don't know him, so what? But the next second, Soo-ji Baek saw Daegun Kwon without his glasses and involuntarily called out, brother, quickly explaining, Soo-hyuk Baek is my brother. She hadn't expected him to be so handsome without glasses and accidentally called him that. So what? Daegun Kwon asked, but his attention was suddenly drawn elsewhere. A figure walked in and immediately kicked Jinma, then slapped him several times. Jinma didn't dare to fight back. Stunned by the scene, Daegun Kwon watched as Jinma held his face and said, Won-woong, I'm sorry. Daegun Kwon then realized, this is Won-woong Kim? He asked, are you Won-woong Kim? Won-woong Kim immediately replied, that's right, I'm Won-woong Kim. I heard you were looking for me. Seeing this, Daegun Kwon didn't waste time. It seems you're Won-woong Kim. I'm looking for you today. We don't seem to have any connection, Won-woong Kim said. Why are you looking for me? Daegun Kwon rubbed his forehead. Looking for you, of course, is for... The next second, Daegun Kwon suddenly swung his fist at Won-woong Kim. Shocked, Won-woong Kim didn't expect Daegun Kwon to suddenly attack. Fortunately, Jizyakyu stepped in to block it. Everything was fine just now, Jizyakyu said. Why did you suddenly attack? Who are you? Daegun Kwon asked. Jizyakyu was stunned, then said, I'm Jizyakyu from Class 5. Although I have no right to interfere in other classes' affairs, I can't stand by when you're causing trouble like this. With that, Jizyakyu suddenly extended his leg to trip Daegun Kwon, then used force to try to knock Daegun Kwon down. But the next second, Jizyakyu was shocked, veins bulging on his face. He maintained his position, but couldn't move Daegun Kwon at all. At this point, Jizyakyu couldn't help wondering if he was weakening. He had used all his strength, but Daegun Kwon showed no signs of falling. Meanwhile, Daegun Kwon casually said, not bad strength. Were you trying to knock me down? Hearing this, Jizyakyu awkwardly released Daegun Kwon, then said, that's not important. Although students here often fight, we have a right to know your reason, right? At this moment, Won-woong Kim put his arm around Jinma and said, is it because of yesterday's incident? Then he grabbed Jinma's hair and said, you stupid idiot. You better explain yourself properly. But just as Jinma was about to speak, Won-woong Kim suddenly slapped him hard in the face, then kicked Jinma, saying, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. You stupid idiot. You caused trouble using my name. Jinma didn't dare fight back, just kept apologizing. But Won-woong Kim wouldn't stop, angrily saying, did water get into your brain? You made me misunderstood by others. Then, Won-woong Kim stopped beating Jinma. Turning to Daegun Kwon, he said, I'd admit I didn't control my people well, but isn't it a bit much for you to question me without evidence? Daegun Kwon was completely confused. I guess there's no evidence, he said, looking at Jinma. Seeing this, Won-woong Kim stepped forward and cursed, punk, stop pretending. But Jizyakyu quickly stopped him, saying, calm down. He probably knows he wrongly accused someone. Then, turning to Daegun Kwon, he said, you probably got the wrong person. We're not interested in the so-called power rankings. Just then, the bell for class rang. Daegun Kwon was confused, feeling like he had been misled. He knew he couldn't rationally attack, so he left class 6 behind him. Won-woong Kim smiled. Jizyak, your acting was quite convincing. Jizyakyu, still with lingering fear, said, I was actually quite nervous just now, but that guy is really strong. You're right, it's best not to get involved personally. Won-woong Kim then took out his phone. In that case, there's only one option left. Meanwhile, in class, Daegun Kwon was still thinking about what had happened. He knew this was Won-woong Kim's plan, but their behavior just now was distancing themselves from the incident. If he had taken action, he would probably have been seen as the villain. But now, their attitude was ambiguous, and he couldn't find legitimate grounds to beat them up. At this moment, the teacher on the stage suddenly mentioned war, saying, wars are waged for self-interest, but even so, a public justification is needed. Hearing this, Daegun Kwon suddenly had a revelation. It seemed he would soon have a way to deal with them. Meanwhile, Won-woong Kim was still disciplining Jinma and the others, who were angry but dared not speak. Jinma could only complain internally. You don't even dare to fight the transfer student one-on-one, yet you're lecturing us. At this moment, Won-woong Kim was already dialing a number. The person on the other end turned out to be young man Lee from Bongun High School. Won-woong Kim told him about the transfer student. Young man Lee curiously asked, what happened to that guy afterwards? Won-woong Kim said, it seems that you, Jinwoo Cha, and a few brothers need to step in. I originally wanted to deal with him at school, but none of these guys can fight. When you've roughed him up enough, I'll step in to finish him off completely. Young man Lee said, no problem. That guy does have some skills, but with our number, dealing with him won't be an issue. At this moment, Jin Woo-cha suddenly approached and said, can we find that girl from yesterday? Won Woon Kim was confused and asked, who are you talking about? Jima immediately thought of Jin. Why did they want to find her? This had nothing to do with her. Then Won Woon Kim asked Jin Woo-cha why he wanted to find that girl. Jin Woo-cha said, that girl is just my type. Since we're going to deal with a transfer student, why not have some fun with that girl too? Hearing this, Won Woon Kim immediately agreed. Then he told Jinma that this task was assigned to him, to bring that girl over. Jinma immediately became anxious, thinking that the girl was innocent and shouldn't be involved. After some thought, Jinma remembered the school rules. You can't touch students from another class without defeating their class leader. He said to Won Woon Kim, that girl is from class 9. If we touch her, class 9's leader, Sung-hoon Lee, probably won't stand by. Won Woon Kim replied, girls don't pay protection fees, so it doesn't matter. Besides, how strong can class 9's bookworm be? After this incident, we'll absorb class 9 too. You just need to bring those 2 people over. Jima was immediately confused. How am I going to bring 2 people over? Scene changes. Jima found Daegun Kwon and knelt before him to apologize. Behind him, Manhwa and others were stunned. Having heard that this guy defeated 4 people led by Jima yesterday, this guy was really amazing. But unfortunately, there was no chance to build a good relationship with him. Daegun Kwon kicked Jinma and said, so, you know you're wrong, huh? Daegun Kwon wanted to teach Jinma a lesson, but the more he looked at him, the more pitiful he seemed, so he gave up on the idea. He then started drilling Jinma and told him to apologize to the girl from yesterday. Jinma said, I'll go apologize in a bit. Also, to express my sincerity, I'd like to treat you to some tteokbokki. Daegun Kwon was stunned. You're treating me to tteokbokki? Just the 2 of us? Jima asked, is that not okay? His pitiful appearance moved Daegun Kwon. He then put his arm around Jinma and said, no problem. Let's go eat together after school. Jinma then found Jin and apologized similarly, expressing his sincerity by inviting her to tteokbokki. Jin immediately refused. Jinma quickly explained that he had no other intentions, just wanted to express his apology and that the transfer student, Daegun Kwon, would also be there. Jin's good friend, Yahello, heard Daegun Kwon's name and immediately perked up. She immediately said, then let's go together. Hearing this, Jin immediately shook her head in refusal. This is too awkward. If you want to eat, let's go together. But Yahello looked at Jin pleadingly and said, please, Jin, there's no better chance to meet the transfer student. Jima also said, then bring your friend along. For people is good too. Seeing this, Jin shrugged and said, actually, I don't want to go, but let's go together. Jinma said he would come find them after school. But after Jinma walked away, he regretted it. I'm such an idiot. What am I doing? I actually thought we were really going to eat tteokbokki today, dragging an innocent girl into this, and I kept smiling stupidly. At that moment, Jima saw Min-soo Kim and immediately recognized him as Daegun Kwon's deskmate. He thought, we should have a good relationship. Right on time, after school arrived quickly. Youngmin Lee and the others from Bongun High School were already prepared. Daegun Kwon was also with Jinma, Jin, and the others. Daegun Kwon and Jin both felt awkward about this strange combination. Only Yahello was focused on admiring Daegun Kwon. After walking for a while, Daegun Kwon noticed there were no open shops. He looked at Jinma and asked, is there really a tteokbokki shop here? Jinma immediately became nervous and said, yes, it's nearby. Yahello added, real gourmet places are usually in secluded alleys. I just didn't know there was a food place here. I've never heard of it before. Daegun Kwon then looked at Jinma and asked, what's the name of that shop? This scared Jinma, who immediately looked around nervously. Seeing this, Daegun couldn't help but say, why are you panicking? It's like you have ulterior motives. But the next second, Daegun Kwon noticed a group of people in the distance. These people were Youngman Lee and his group for Bongun. Daegun Kwon immediately understood that Jinmo's apology was just a pretext to lure him here. Angry, Daegun Kwon was about to teach Jinma a lesson. Jinma quickly knelt down before Daegun Kwon, saying, I was forced to do this. After this, you can kill me if you want, but I really had no choice. Nearby, Jin and Yahello also realized that they had all been tricked by Jinma. Jin angrily cursed. You scumbag! You shouldn't have involved innocent Yahello. By now, young man Lee and the others had approached. Looking at Jinma, he said, "Why are you kneeling to him? We came to make him kneel." Seeing this, Daegun Kwon had to deal with young man Lee and his group first, telling Jinma to wait there. He'd settle accounts with him later. That's all for today. For the next part, make sure to subscribe my channel Fire Recap. And you don't forget to share and like the video. I am out.